the privilege of prayer. Dear God, here's the time when we're about to begin our Sabbath school. May you please be with us. And the Lord, I ask that may you send your holy presence to be among us. And just I'll pray, thanksgiving our hearts. Amen. Okay, thank you so much. So at this point, I'll invite the sojourners to be up front. The sojourners, please. Even as the Sabbath school panel gets ready.
Kili bile, aye, kili bile, Jesus, sweet Jesus, what a wonder you are. You are brighter than the morning star. Fairer, much fairer than the lily that grows by the wayside. You are precious, more precious.
Okay, thank you so much, the Sojourners, for that wonderful singing. What do you say once more for the Sojourners? Okay, thank you so much. Okay. Londa, londa, nkaba londa ba Yahweh. Londa, nkaba londa ba Yahweh. Londa, londa, nkaba londa ba Yahweh. Bonse bakaya nkaba londa. Uyo tu solo lela, 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 uyo tu solo lela. Okay, I welcome you all once more to today's Sabbath Worship. What do you say? Okay, thank you so much. So, today is Women Ministries Day, hosted by the young women. As you can see, as you can see with me, I have my beautiful ladies who are going to talk about a few women Bible characters, of which these women were just normal women like us. You know, they had their own flaws, their own challenges, but then at some point they got transformed and God used them to the glory of his name. Just like he can use each one of us seated right here. What do we say? Okay, so to start with, I'm going to ask my fellow ladies here to introduce themselves before we dive into the main discussion.
Good morning, church. Happy Sabbath, church. My name's Nancy Nasilele Nyambe, and I'm majoring in...
Good morning, church. Happy Sabbath, church. My name is Grace Mwale, majoring in BSc Nursing.
Good morning, church. Good morning, church. My name is Esther Mayungo, majoring in English Language and Literature with Education.
Happy Sabbath, church. My name's Leah Namfukwe. I am majoring in agribusiness.
Okay, and I'm your host, Mulomba Precious. What do you say for us? Okay, thank you so much. So in starting, the first Bible character that we're going to be looking at this morning is Ruth. Yeah, as we all may know to say, Ruth was Naomi's daughter-in-law. Yeah, she was married to Boaz, the son to Naomi. So it so happened that when Boaz died, Ruth was advised actually by Naomi to go back to her people. But then we find to say she insisted that she stays with her mother-in-law. Yeah, she actually told the mother-in-law to say, wherever it is that she goes, she'll go also. Whatever she eats, she'll eat. So this actually tells us to say Ruth's loyalty to Naomi actually became a turning point in her life. Yes. So maybe just to get a glimpse of Ruth's story, I'm going to ask Sister Grace to shed more light on what you think is the most interesting part of Ruth's transformation and how it has actually helped.
So we find that the time I was reading through her story, actually one thing caught my attention. As I was reading, I was relating to how things happen now. And then now I just discovered that the time that she lost the husband, her and Oprah were told to go back to their parents' house, which is mostly done even now in our cultures. You can't continue staying with your in-laws. So we find Naomi telling their daughter-in-laws to say, you have to go back to your mother's house. But then Ruth decides to cleave unto her while Oprah goes back. And then now, one thing that interests me is that Naomi had a very touching...
Hello? Hello, good morning. There's too much noise in the background. Let us be together. As you are walking in, please walk in quietly. We are not able to get anything from the stage because of the noise that is coming from the background. We are in the house of the Lord. Let us maintain silence. Thank you.
As I was saying, Ruth had to cleave unto her mother-in-law. She saw a mother who could love her more than her own parents. And so she decided to say, I will be with you. Where you die, I will die also. Where you lodge, I will lodge also. And so we see that here we see God's love, where Ruth was touched and she was spoken to that she should remain with the mother-in-law. She shouldn't leave, but then there was an objective lesson to get from that.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, Sister Grace, for that powerful insight about Ruth's story. Okay, so just like we've heard for our own selves to say, we need to stay loyal to the people around us. We need to be as meek as possible, as humble as possible, and good things shall surely follow us. Okay, so moving on to Esther. Esther is another interesting Bible character that we find. Okay, so, you know, the story of Esther is actually one of my favorite stories. Yeah, you know, her story is more like a fairy tale, like a Nigerian movie. You know, we find Esther to be this poor girl who was just raised by her uncle, Mordecai. And we find to say this Esther was humble, was meek, was kind, and she was beautiful. Yeah, she was really beautiful. So we find to say a king was in search of a queen, and then we find Esther to be on the contest for, the search for a queen. And I should attest to you all to say, Esther is one of the ladies that were least expected to be picked as queen. Yeah, because she was coming from a very humble background. You know, there were a lot of well-to-do ladies that were on the contest. But then, what do we find at the end? We find to say Esther actually turned out to be the one that was picked to be queen. So what does this teach us? So I'm going to ask Sister Esther, Sister Esther, to elaborate more. Sister Esther, what do you think? What do you think made Esther unique and special?
Oh, interesting question. Thank you very much. Esther, a very interesting character in the Bible. This lady was beautiful. She was very beautiful outside, but what made her unique is that she was not just beautiful outside. She was beautiful inside as well. This lady was meek. She was humble. As we have heard from the background, she was a poor orphan. She was a poor orphan. Her parents died when she was little, and the uncle took the responsibility of raising her. She was so meek, she was so humble, such that her beauty, her inside beauty, brought out her outside beauty. So from this girl, we learned that the outside beauty is not really valued if your inside beauty is not there. We have beautiful ladies. We have beautiful women. Social media people, we see a lot of beautiful people. But then from the way they talk, from the way they speak, they insult, they have vulgar language, and then we see that their beauty, their outside beauty is dimmed because of how they portray themselves. So Esther's character was unique. It was outstanding. That's why Esther is unique in the Bible. Thank you very much.
Okay, beautiful. That's a good one. Thank you so much. So as we have heard for ourselves, we need to be beautiful inside out. Okay, being beautiful outside it's not enough really for us. So we need to portray a good character out there. We need to be humble. We need to be kind to other people. You know, some people, you may be beautiful, but then if you are portraying an ugly character out there, they won't even see that you are beautiful outside. So it's very important to actually portray good character out there, so that at least God knows us. Okay, so the next character that we're going to be looking at is Rahab. You know, if you read the story of Rahab carefully, you will find to say Rahab was actually deemed to be the first class prostitute. Like she was a prostitute of prostitutes. Yes. But then, what we find at the end? We find to say she was transformed by God, and actually she was used by God to the glory of his name. Yeah, so we find to say actually Rahab actually ended up getting married to one of the spies that Joshua sent to go and spy the land of Jericho. Yeah. So, Sister Nancy, I would love you to at least give us a glimpse of what you get from the teaching of Rahab and the two spies that Joshua sent to spy the land of Jericho.
Okay, thank you so much. That's a good one. So a story is told in the book of Joshua chapter 2 about Rahab and the two spies who were sent out to go and scout the land, or rather to spy the land of Jericho. That was the time when the children of Israel had crossed the Red Sea. So they needed to scout the land before they could come in and take it. So as they were going to the city, you know, Rahab being a prostitute, she used to sit by the window, and then she could see the people who come through the gates of Jericho. So you know how prostitutes are. They will be there, and men would always notice them. But these two men did not even pay much attention on this prostitute named Rahab. So she thought there was something about these two men. And she needed to find out. So she let them into her house. And when the king had heard that there are two men who have come to spy the land, he sent out his men to go and get them so that they can be punished. But Rahab decided to risk her own life and also the life of her family members by hiding these two men and also telling that she had seen them quite a while back. She doesn't know where they have gone after they got to her house. So she helped them to escape in the night, using a rope through the window. So these two men were safe. If not for Rahab, they would have been killed by those kinsmen who came to take them. So we find here that Rahab risked her own life. So even us, when we take this for God will try not let us down, because when we risk for Him, He will always be with us.
Okay, thank you so much, Sister Nancy. That's a good one. So we make ourselves to think. There's no harm in risking for God. Yeah, so we have to take any possible risk for God's glory. Okay, thank you so much for that answer. So the next character that we are going to look at next, that was Mary Magdalene. Yeah, I think some of us, many of us know Mary Magdalene. Yeah, Mary Magdalene. Okay, so we find Mary to be one of the prostitutes as well. Like she was an outcast, per se. Yeah, she was one of the despised women in the Bible because of her past experience, because of her past life. But then what do we find at the end? We find to say she was transformed by God after realizing her own grace. She goes to Jesus when he's having Passover ceremony. Yeah, so she goes to God and she cries on his feet and anoints him with the most expensive perfume. And then God, right there, he did what? He transformed Mary and used her. So, Sister Leah, I would like you to at least give us a taste of what we learn, we get from the story of Mary Magdalene. Right, thank you very much for that answer. So we see Mary Magdalene was a prophet. She was brave enough to walk to Jesus. I would imagine, because Jesus at this point was having a dinner with the Pharisees, and this is a prostitute walking up to Jesus. So it took a lot of bravery on her side to actually walk up to Jesus and say, I have a problem. I need you to forgive my sin. So we learn a lot of bravery from Mary Magdalene for taking this step. So as young people, as young youths that we are, you need to take that step. You need to realize that I have a problem and I need God to come into my life and take care of this problem. Don't be ashamed, because it takes a lot of courage to step up and say, I need God to help me with this, which is what we see with Mary Magdalene. She walked up to God, she cried. It showed a lot of sympathy to say she really wanted to be transformed into a better being, which is what Jesus did. Jesus saw her heart, and one thing is that when you truly want to be transformed, Jesus will see your heart. He will see to say this person is sorrowful. There is sympathy in this person. So this is what we see with Mary Magdalene. He saw her heart. He saw that truly she wanted to be transformed into a better person, and that's how Jesus forgave her and told her, your faith has truly saved you. Walk away, and you'll see that you will be healed. Okay, thank you so much, Sister Leah. That's a powerful one. So at this point, I would ask my fellow beautiful ladies here to at least give us a glimpse of maybe how these stories have actually helped each one of us here. Yeah, maybe based on personal experience or anything. Yeah.
Just contributing on Esther's point, where we learned that Esther was made queen. Before her, there was another queen, And so we see there was a party where the king decided to call for the main queen. He called for the main queen so that everybody else should see her. But then she decides to refuse and to shun away. And that's how she was chased out. And they now started looking for another queen to take up the place. What I learned is you could be all that, you feel that without you, people can't do, without you, things can't move. You're the only one who needs to be there for everything to happen well. God can actually turn tables around for you. When you feel you're all that, without humbling yourself, you would find God despising you. And the Bible tells us to say, humble yourselves before the mighty hand of God, and he will lift you up. He will lift you up. And God finds delight in people that humble themselves rather than people that want to have pride. So we find the main queen to the king being chased, and then now Esther comes in, someone who was of a poor background, someone who wasn't even well-to-do comes in the picture. So we need to humble ourselves in each and every situation we're in. When you're good at something, praise God for that, thank God for that, and he will surely lift you up.
Okay, thank you so much. That's a powerful one. Sister.
Okay. Personally, I learned something from Rahab. The risk that she took to take in those men. I want to relate it to now. Take that risk. It may be a business. You want to start a business. You're seeing to say, oh, maybe it will flop. It will not do well. This story is telling us to say, you can take that risk. There is no harm in trying. And personally, I feel like I'm encouraged to take that risk. And you never know what God has in store for you. So make sure you take that risk. You're doubting, no, it won't work out, it won't do what. Go for it. You never know what God has in store for you. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. That's a brilliant one. Thank you so much, Sister Leah. Sister Nancy?
Okay, I'm going to add on Ruth. A story is told about Naomi when her sons had died. So she decided that she should leave Moab and go to her parents' house. But then her daughters-in-law decided to follow her. She insisted that they should go back to Moab and stay there. But Ruth insisted and followed Naomi. So they stayed together, and now Ruth, being a very nice young woman, Naomi could see that this one deserves a better man next time. So it was Naomi actually who found a husband that married her daughter-in-law. So even as we live nowadays, we interact with elderly people. Let us seek advice from them. They can advise us in whichever way that we want, because they know what is best for us, because they have the experience.
Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you so much for that powerful insight. So we've heard for ourselves to say we need to seek counsel from elders, because these people know exactly what's best for us. So when an elderly person comes with an advice, please, let's heed to that advice. Yeah, thank you so much. So, Sister Esther.
Thank you very much. I'm going to contribute on Esther and Rahab. Esther is a special character. What makes her special is that there was a time, she was a servant. So they were supposed to be killed, but Esther took up a very difficult decision. It was simple for her to talk to the king, since she was a queen, to tell the king to abolish that decline of killing them. But then she prayed to God, she fasted, and she also told her clan to fast and pray. And then after fasting and praying, she went to talk to the king. And the king's heart was softened because of the praying and fasting that went on. So this is teaching us that even if we can approach situations in a very simple manner, it's very easy for you to do something. You need to pray and fast about it. Talk to God. Tell God everything. It's very easy. No, I can do this in this manner. I can do this. But please pray to God. Tell him. and show that you really need him to help you. Then on Rahab, Rahab's story is very interesting. Some of us have got dark pasts. I'm one of them. My past is very dark. It's not interesting. Yeah. I could have been working right now, but then because of how I lived my life, I'm still here. I'm still here in school. I have a very beautiful daughter. I have a very beautiful daughter. I'm not regretting having that baby because she's a blessing to me. From the time I gave birth, I've experienced true joy. So what I want to say is that no matter how your past is, no matter how dark your past is, please don't dwell on it. Stand up, raise your head. People love those who've got courage. When you stand on your own, if you feel like you can't do anything, no one is going to help you. Help yourself. Stand up. Forget about your past. Live on. Be a queen. Come on. Be a queen. I'm here. I'm Esther. I'm a living testimony. Right now, I even watch for some of you because I know what value is there to do my own thing. I know what it means to hustle for myself. So, young ladies here, please, I beg of you, stand up. Raise your crowns. You are queens. Don't dwell on your past. Thank you very much.
Wow. That's a very good one, Sister Esther. Thank you so much. Yeah, so coming back to Ruth, Sister Grace, what do you think, how do you think God transformed Ruth, and how do you think he can actually transform us as well in this modern world? And maybe just give us a little bit of examples of Ruth and Naomi's of today, the Ruths and Naomi's of today.
First and foremost, we find Naomi portraying a true love of the mother to Ruth. She really portrayed a true love and a faithful heart to her. That's even what even made Ruth to stay back with her. We learned that Ruth is from Moab. She comes from a town of idolatry where they don't worship the true God. And then now she gets to mingle with an Israelite where they worship the true God of heaven. And so she sees someone in that mother-in-law who can actually even teach her more and greater things. So Ruth, in this case, she sees the love that the mother-in-law portrays, and she decides to stay back. She decides to stay back because she was not only committing to Ruth's words, but she was showing that she can also accept the God of heaven. She can also keep that covenant of God. And we find her accepting to be with the mother-in-law. She decides to start helping her, working with her at home. She would go out, bring wood, look for some food, because Naomi didn't have anybody like a man. The sons were all dead, and so they didn't have help that can come from a real man to help them around. And so Naomi continued praying for Ruth that she should also meet a man deserving for her. That's even what even made her to come in contact with Boaz, a very wealthy man in the Bible. And actually, Ruth is one of the women that are in the lineage of Jesus Christ, because it's also connected to our salvation. Ruth is mentioned in the genealogy of Jesus Christ. So we find Ruth humbled herself to the mother-in-law, and she decides to stick to her, and whatever that the mother-in-law would eat, she was there by her side.
least it can help beg you before you actually join the Seventh-day Adventist